Hey everyone, this is World Film Geek here. Today I had the pleasure of interviewing writer-director MJ Bassett. She's known for her work in Silent Hill Revelations, Ash vs. Evil Dead, Da Vinci's Demons, and Iron Fist. Her latest film, Rogue, a story about mercenaries who go up against both rebels and lions, come out this Friday from Lionsgate. Enjoy the interview. Hey MJ, how you doing?
I'm all right, darling. How are you today?
Doing pretty well, thank you.
Good. Happy to hear.
So I got to
It's
see...
always worrying asking anybody how they are these days.
Oh, I know, with the pandemic and all, I understand that. So I got to see Rogue, and it was very interesting. I liked the fact that it combined like this whole mercenary action film with a little bit of the horror element with the lions. I thought that was really well done.
I know, it was really interesting. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, because I like those kinds of movies. I like my action, I like my horror.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to try and make a film which combined those things. It's kind of segued from one genre to another without organically growing into it.
Mm-hmm.
And at the heart of it all having a message which is super important to me as a kind of environmentalist and as a filmmaker. And then just having a damn good time making it as well.
That's great. So, what was the inspiration to writing and directing the film? I understand that I was reading up a bit about you, and you were into wildlife as a child. Would that help make this film?
Oh, totally. I mean, I wanted to be a vet. I wanted to be a wildlife vet in Africa my whole life. Even today, if you waved the magic wand and said film director or wildlife vet, I'd probably choose wildlife vet. It's something that's always been hugely important to me. And I made wildlife documentaries and did wildlife photography. And I was in the UK. I hosted science and nature programs. This is another lifetime ago. So it's really been something that has been a big part of my life. I used to run a wildlife hospital, and again, that's stuff that's important to your soul.
Mm-hmm.
The filmmaking's great, and I love doing genre filmmaking. So the opportunity to make a movie which would deal with, I get to make the kind of film I want to make, but also have a message. And it's not a messagey movie. It should happen to be about this thing underlying it. So you can take the message if you want, or you can just enjoy the film for what it is. So that sense of, okay, I've got the opportunity to make an action movie, small budget, but lots of control. What is it? What do I want to talk about? And I could have talked about anything, but I think the lion farming issue in South Africa is not very pleasant, and nobody knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. I get the opportunity to do a lion movie and say something. Every little piece felt like it dropped into place really nicely for me. Bit of action, bit of horror, lots of characters, some humor, and it's about something.
That's
perfect.
That's great. So this was a different type of role for Megan Fox. It was definitely a break from what we're used to seeing here, and she did a pretty good job as O'Hara, the team leader. What was it like working with her?
She's great. I mean, the thing about Megan is that when we wrote the script, again, it was surprising. I can't tell you enough. It was a really, really cheap movie. And so the notion of getting like a global superstar, and that's the truth. Megan is so well known. Across the planet, wherever you go with her, she's recognized. It didn't occur to me. So when we wrote the script, and it turned out, and I wrote this with my daughter Isabel,
Mm-hmm.
and it turned out really good. Everybody liked it. We were, pretty much a greenlit movie. And they said, well, how about trying to get a bigger name for the lead? And we, with a list of strong A-list female actors. And Megan was on with that. And I said, I don't see her in this. I don't. There's nothing about what she's done before which makes me think this might be right. But the people said, well, she's up for a challenge. Sent it to her. She got back to us the next day, which is pretty much unheard of. Really liked it. I went to meet her, and we just sat and talked. And the striking thing is, and I should know this by now because I've been in the business so long, is that the public persona that the media presents and the real person never the same thing.
Right.
So I sat with her, and she's a very thoughtful, charming woman, mother of 3. And she's got her own view of the world, and she's very environmentally aware. But she's also aware of how she was perceived in terms of the energy that she put out to the world and what the audience thought of her. And I think she saw Samantha O'Hara as a character that she could kind of hopefully begin her reinvention as a more mature, more physically capable actress.
Mm-hmm.
And also, just get down and dirty, because she doesn't really do that kind of stuff. The movie's she's not sexualized, there's no romance. She's just a badass human being, no matter what gender she is.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I needed somebody to carry the slightly feminist story in there, which is the fact that her character has sort of buried her maternal instincts because she has to live in a very male-driven world of the military. Mm-hmm. And the burgeoning and the rediscovery of that maternal instinct gives her the strength to defend the people that she cares about. So it was kind of finding somebody who can do that, and Megan being a mother and wanting to sort of rediscover herself, kind of all those bits again fell into place. So she said, yes, she'd come and do it. And I mean, I told her it was going to be tough, and I think she agrees that it was a pretty intense, tough 20-odd days. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the movies benefited from her. I think she did a really good job. We trained her to be tough and weapons work and, all the kind of tactical stuff that she had to do. And from that, I think she's come out of it a better person, a stronger person for herself. So I think we all gained something.
That's one thing I always love, when actors are known for a certain type of film, but then they get that one project where they're going to break out into something different. And I've seen that a lot lately. And this one's definitely Megan's. Yeah. And, like just recently I saw Kevin James and Becky, where he played the villain for the first time. And that was just mind-blowing on its own, because we're all used to seeing him in his comedies. And for here, it's Megan, playing, like, as you said, the sexualized female who is now here she is a badass person, and I thought she did a pretty good job.
She does, and I think I wanted to carry on doing those kinds of movies because this was the first step in this kind of direction for her, and I didn't have her for very long to train her, and I think I'd love to get her back into another a sequel or some other kind of thing where you go, all right, we've given you the foundation, let's really train you up, let's really make you badass. Because I think there's a hardness that she can access, which I really, really like. And she's never wanted to do that because she's always playing, very soft, very feminine. Mm-hmm. And you don't need to do that. Just be yourself and be tough. And I like that. So yeah, I agree with you. Finding a new gear for an actor is always a great thing to do.
Exactly. So I got to ask us about the lions. Were all of them CGI, or was anything else used like animatronics or real? Because the night vision sequence, that kind of really convinced me. I'm like, is that like a trained lion actually doing that? Because that looked pretty convincing.
Thank you very much. Well, no, apart from the opening, like 3 shots of 3, the opening 2 minutes of the movie is real lions when they're in the cage in the lion farm. Mm-hmm. Because they actually lived about 500 yards from the set. And I was living on the game range where we shot the movie, and I could hear those lions roaring every night. It was amazing. But then it's all CG from there, and then with a puppet head for the very close-up bites and things.
Okay.
And the truth of the matter is I don't like having live animals on the set if I can avoid it, because it stresses them out.
Yeah.
And making a movie which is about care for wildlife, and then having animals stressed is not good. So the lion cubs, we had to be very careful with them. The live lions I had them for like 3 hours for the whole thing. And then they went back. The CG lion, there's some great CG work, and there's some stuff which is, it is what it is. But the night vision lion sequence, I think I'm really pleased with that because it has a lot of impact, and you like that character, and I think it's a good death, as we say.
Yeah, exactly. And just the last act of the film, that was, I'm not going to spoil it, but that was really surprising to me. I wasn't expecting how that was going to go down, and I thought that was brilliant.
Good. Well, thank you. But again, the point of it is that I don't want to portray lions as monsters. Mm-hmm. They're not. They're animals. They behave like animals. There's no anthropomorphism. She does what she does for a very particular reason. I obviously don't want to give it away, but
right.
And the reason why it's a lioness and not a big hairy lion is very specific as well, because the whole thing is about motherhood. And that's kind of what I wanted to access. And I remember one of my financiers saying, "Why can't it be a lion?" I said, "Well, they look like John Bon Jovi from the '80s for a start." And even though they're kind of, it's true, right? It's true.
Yeah.
They look great, but big hair. And the lioness, as Patar's character says, the females are the true hunters, the true killers, and that's what I wanted to portray. So that's why you got it.
That's awesome. So how long did shooting take, and what challenges did you have to face during production?
We shot it all in 22 days. Mm-hmm. I think I came in a day early. Yeah, not long though. 3 or 4 weeks. The challenges in making a movie like this are almost all physical, right? Once you've picked the team, once you've got the cast, and everybody knows the kind of film you're making, and you know that you haven't got any squeaky wheels, you've cast it well. I cast it brilliant. Philip Winchester, who plays Joey, the male lead, is amazing. I've worked with him a lot, so I knew that I was in safe hands with him. Megan got down and dirty, so she was pretty good. And then the rest of the cast, I'd worked pretty much with all of them in some capacity, so I just knew they worked at my speed and my kind of intensity. And South Africa crews, again, because I've worked in South Africa a lot. I knew that these people work like I work, and that's the most important thing. With a low budget movie, you don't get to dictate the world. The world kind of dictates you, and you have to be very reactive and creative and nimble to accommodate all those things. For instance, the day before we shot the opening rescue sequence, that entire hillside was on fire with wildfires. The art department had to go and take refuge by the side of a river. We thought the whole set was burning down. We looked at it and we saw that the fire had actually stopped about 10 yards from our set. So you watch the movie, the hillsides are all blackened.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't notice that.
What can we do if we don't? And I was planning to shoot somewhere different and do it, so it's all about being capable of just going with the flow and being creative. Africa's a tough country to shoot in. The environment's hot as hell, thunderstorms every night, lightning coming down, torrential rain. I know that I'm losing a couple of hours just sheltering inside places, but you've just got to plow ahead. So the challenge, and also I shot the movie in sequence. So day one of the movie was the kidnap rescue sequence, and day 2 was the jeep chase, and day 3 was the shootout on top of the cliff, and day 4 was in the river, and day 5. So we didn't have any kind of slow build up. We hit the ground running.
Oh wow!
For me, that was amazing, and actually for the team it was good because they were fresh at the beginning. The cast, especially, super fresh, super game, and through the process of the movie, they got more weary. They had to do less acting because their tiredness and their concern was there. So it really benefited the movie.
That's great. So my final question is, with now film production and TV production slowly coming back, are there any new projects in the works that you can talk about?
As we speak, I have an open suitcase behind me. I'm packing it up. I'm going to Kenya tomorrow to start prep on the next picture.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is going to be it's part of the series of environmental genre pictures I'm doing. That's going to be a family survival thriller.
That's great.
Don't want to say any more about it than that, but that's going to sit in the same kind of world.
That's awesome. So Rogue is coming out this Friday, and those who love action, those who love horror, and those who want to see Megan Fox in a brand new light will definitely want to see this one. And MJ, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about this film, and I hope the film is a hit.
You're very welcome, Albert. Lovely to talk to you. Thank you.